Hi, welcome back. In today's layout, I am going to be documenting these pictures from a color run I did with my son and friends of mine. Color run is a fun 5K run. It's not timed, it's just go out, go have a good time. But at every mile marker during the race, where there's only three because it's a 3-mile 5K, you get blasted with colored powder. So the premise behind the race is you come in white and you leave tie-dyed. So I have my before, I have my after, and then I have pictures from during the race, and you can just see all the different colored powder. My son wasn't incredibly thrilled that I had him do this with me, I guess. Me with my friends. And then this is basically, it's just this big cloud of dust. So very cute. So I really want to try to replicate this. So what I was planning on doing, I wanted to do some ink smushing. And I just prepared this ahead of time because I've never ink smooshed before. And I thought this was actually kind of cool, except I'm not a huge fan of white. There's a lot of white still in here. And I thought that would look cute, but not exactly what I was going for. So I dug through all of my paper and I came upon this paper here. And to me, that looks like exactly what we were experiencing. The colors go really well with my photos because I do have so much pinks in the ones that I am showcasing. So I thought that that would go really well. And then I thought I wanted to color blend my title. Actually, at first I wanted to color blend the whole thing, but when I realized how long it took me to color blend my title, I decided that that's all I was going to color blend. So let me go grab my title and show you what I created. So I am using the new alphabet die from Stampin' Up. I think it's called the Party Alphabet die, but these are really large. These are they're about 2 inches tall each. And I did color blend all of my letters. And I actually came in and used a little gold Posca marker to give them a little bit of a little bit of bling. So, but I color blended them in 3 different colors. So I'm basically using Blackberry Bliss. I think this was Fresh Freesia. And then I also use Calypso Coral. So I was going to place my title down here across the bottom, and I'm just simply doing color run because that is what it is. Couldn't think of a catchier title, but obviously it blends in really well. So I had gone through some of the papers, actually watercolor papers or mixed media papers in my stash, and I came upon this really pretty mixed media paper. Initially, when I bought this is Vicki Boutin mixed media paper, I thought it was actually paper to do mixed media on. Until I actually finally opened it, did I realize that it's actually pre-created mixed media paper. And I thought the colors worked so well. And I thought I'd bring those down here on the bottom. So let me slide this down here. I did cut 2 of them out. They are 4 inches by 12. Let me rearrange my title really quick. And then let me bring in this opposite side. So I have 2. It's going to have the same gold decoration on both corners, but that's just the way the paper works. And that's partially why, I don't know if you can see it or not, the color or ink blending doesn't show up as well. I'm hoping when I post these on Instagram, you'll see it better, but they are blended much more than they look. But that's why I splattered them with gold so that it kind of tied in here. And all I did was I take a Posca marker, and it's a paint marker, and I'm bring in a piece of paper, super simple. And then all I do is I just take some kind of tool. This is just a bone folder, and if you just tap on it, it gives you some really nice splatters. So bring that in. I don't know if you can see it. Like I said, the colors just don't always show up, but that's all I did was to splatter those up. I am going to be giving this one a little tiny border here. This is the Blackberry Bliss two-tone cardstock. This is the dark side. I like the light side because I think it ties in really, really well with this paper here. So I'm going to give that just a little bit of border and separation there. And in fact, I just picked up a gold ink pad. This is just something I got from scrapbook.com, but I think I want to just ink the very top edge of that one really quick, and I'm just going to go direct to paper. So I'm just going to slide off my letters because we have all this really pretty gold here. I just want to bring in just a little bit more gold, a little bit more separation. So I'm just going to really quickly go ink to paper. Not always the best idea. You can damage your ink pads, but I'm just going to do these two strips really quick. And I'm just going to do the very top. And I don't know if you can see that. It's always so hard to see on camera, but it has a nice thin gold border. I'm just going to stick that on the side. This is pigment ink, not dye ink, so it will take just a bit of time to dry and not smudge on my layout. So let me get this other side done really quick. Like I said, just going to do that very top edge just to give it a little bit more definition. I'm also going to lay that off on the side. So let me show you the configuration I'm thinking of using for my photos. Get this little one out of the way as well. I want to do my before and afters here on the left side. So what we looked like before we started, and then what we look like when we were done. I wanted to add this one here that has just all that great powder in the air. Not sure what it does for my lungs, but it was a fun race. We actually did it at Candlestick, which is in San Francisco. It's the old Giants and Niners Stadium from quite a long time ago. These pictures were from 2013, but I did Google this, and they're still doing the color run. So I thought that was pretty darn cool. So this is my friends here, and then just the two photos. I guess this will drop down just a little bit. And I'm thinking that that's going to be my photo configuration. I'm not going to do too much embellishment. I think I'm just going to try to create some splats or something to kind of to replicate the, you know, the puffiness of the powder and what have you. And then I am going to put my journaling right here. So it's going to be a pretty quick, pretty easy. It did take me a while to figure out what papers I was going to use, but in the end, I'm actually really, really happy with finding this Vicki Boutin paper in my stash. So let me, I'm going to matte my photos in Blackberry Bliss on the lighter side. And once my inking is dry, I'm going to start assembling my layout. I came in and I matted all of my photos with the light side of Blackberry Bliss. I put my title down, and let me show you what I ended up doing with that. I had color blended all, or ink blended all my letters, which, like I mentioned before, is from this new die set called Party Alphabet Dies, and this is quite a large set. So you get, like I said, really big letters. Are about 2.5 inches tall. But the paper that I used was rather thin. So let me show you what I did just to reinforce my letters, because I did want to pop them up, and this was just too thin for that. You can see I'm using, you know, leftover and scrap paper. So I just recut a second set of letters out just in the white. And I'm just going to put them here so I'm just going to match them up, as you can see here. I did ink them initially all in the Blackberry Bliss, so I'm going to come back, and I did this on all the others, and re-ink it because you can just see this white edge now, and that truly bothers me. So I'm just going to ink these really, really quick. It's just one letter. All the other ones I have already adhered down. So we get this one all finished up. And then I just popped, like I said, I popped everything up on some foam dots. This time I used just some that I got off of Amazon. I will share those with you, and then I will also link them down below. But I used these 3D foam squares off of Amazon, and then I just took them and I sliced them because they were too big for what I was needing them for. So I'm going to trim these down really quick, and then we'll get this last letter adhered down. So just super quick, super easy. And that way it gave them just a little bit more dimension. Otherwise they were just kind of flat. Just a couple more. Doesn't take too much. And there we go. So sometimes I will take a little bit of glue. The Barely Art Glue is what I use to adhere the two pieces of paper together, the letter, to give it some extra, sticking to my fingers, some extra thickness. So that works really well. But if you put a little bit of glue on your dimensional, it gives you a little bit of float time so that you can move it around. So one more, and let's get that one put in to place there. Try to line that up as best as possible. There we go. My journaling I did on vellum. You can see my little dots of glue where I glued them down. I am going to use these loose gold sequins. I'm going to use that. Just a little dot of glue on top. And I'm going to hide those spots with the sequins. I'm going to use these also to decorate a little bit around, not too much, but I just want to hide those two spots. And these don't have any adhesive on them, so you do have to use a little bit of glue to adhere those down. So that's going to hold those in place. I went to my Cricut for my embellishments. I'm not going to do anything really exciting. These are just splats. I literally searched splats on my Cricut, but I do want to add some of that gold splatter that I did on my letters here. Again, I'm going to be using my Posca. This is 0.77 millimeter. So I'm going to use that, and we're just going to quickly give it some gold splatter so that will kind of tie in not only with the gold in that background paper, but also with the gold splatters on the letter. I was thinking about splatting or splattering my my background, but I did decide not to. So let me get these all splatted up real quick, and then we'll start adhering them down. I got all my splatters splatted with the gold Posca, and I started laying them down. This is the only embellishment I think I'm going to do. I don't really see the need to add a whole lot more. So I'm going to do this a little off camera so I don't get glue all over my table or tape runner. But what I did over here on this one on the left is I directly glued the two larger background splats down, and then I popped up the one in the front. So I did that again just with those same foam squares, and this time I actually cut a lot of them much smaller just to be able to pop up those little tiny splats on the end there. That way these were small enough. So I was really happy with, you know, how this came out. This actually took me a while to figure out all the paper. I must have gone through, you know, 3 or 4 different ideas and ended up pulling this one out, and I was just really happy. It was like exactly what I was looking for. So we're going to pop up these little ones here. That way it just gives it just a little bit of dimension. And you don't even have to pull all of them off. I would just say pull off the main ones. And some of the smaller ones, they can just sit right on top. So I have one more that I want to put together here. And we will be, for the most part, done with this layout. I do want to add just a little bit of those gold sequins. Just scatter them around. I do have little dots, but I think I'd rather use the gold sequins as my embellishments. So just a couple more here. And I was really excited when I did, you know, go back and kind of get, you know, or just remind me what, you know, how they considered the color run to be, and to see that they actually are still doing it. Thought that it was just such a fun run. You know, there was no competition. It was just all about going out, having fun, and coming back colorful. So might go and find myself another color run to do. It's been a while since I ran. About 5 years ago, I was running with my dog and she tripped me, and I took a huge tumble and broke my knee, and really never got back to it again. But I don't know, for this might be fun. So let me pull these backers off really quick. We'll sprinkle around a little bit of those gold sequins, and we will have another layout completed. So I don't think I mentioned where this purple paper came from. That is actually from the Bloom Impressions paper pack. It was part of that celebration that they did earlier this year. And they had this in a blue and a green as well, but I thought the purple went just absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to take a couple of these sequins. I'm going to use my Barely Art glue and just come in here and just add a few dots of glue here and there. And these little sequins do come in a couple of different sizes. You can see I have a really big one, and then there are some really tiny ones. But again, there is no adhesive on them, so you do have to use a type of some type of glue to stick those little guys down. But I like the gold because it matches so well with the gold in this paper here. Oh, I've got a big bubble. So let's just get a couple. Let's do maybe 5 over here on this side. Pop that one. Maybe one more right here. This is where that take your pick tool comes in really well. But I'm just going to forge forward with my fingers here. So get those down. Very cute. Maybe one more right here. Let's get one of the larger ones. Up, there it is. Stuck on my finger. Maybe 3 on this side. Oh, that's a nice large one. And 2, and one more right there. Oopsies. Scooch that over. Apparently art glue does dry clear, but you do see a little sheen, so I do try to wipe it up if I do make a mess. And we're just going to do a couple more here. 2, and let's say one more right there, and then we will call it done. So everything I used today, I definitely will list in the description down below. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Helps my channel grow. Let me bring this in really, really quick. I will also see if I can find the Vicki Boutin Mixed Media paper, in case you're interested. But let me bring that up. Sorry for any glare, but you can see those sequins, and I'm hoping you can see some of the gold on the splatters. Let me bring in the other side. Not only was it a fun run, it was really a fun layout. And again, like I said, I will list everything below. And if you need any more scrapbooking inspiration, I will leave you another video to check out. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.